Welcome, investigator. Evil is on the rise. Crime is escalating. Our mission is to eliminate the crime by exposing evil, examine why it manifests, and highlight the brave souls that confront it every day. Join us as we work together to bring justice to every victim. Welcome to All Things Crime. Here's your host, Jared Bradley.
Going back to the Memphis thing, you heard about what they call ABLE, right? Which is basically when an officer is doing something wrong, somebody says, well, that means stop. I'm going to call somebody, supervisor or whatever. I don't know if you remember when the George Floyd situation, they had 3 officers with them. The Asian officer who was the brother-in-law of Chauvin, because Chauvin was married to his sister. Then there was 2 other officers that one of them had like 3 weeks on and the other one maybe a couple of months. And I believe it was the one that had the less time told him, hey man, can you stop? Because, whatever. And I can imagine, because this is, what I heard. They probably told him, shut the heck up, you rookie ass officer, whatever, because, that's going to happen. You got more time. You're going to tell the rookie officer to shut up. And I feel bad because that officer was judged basically the same way the Chauvin was judged, in charge.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's completely wrong. He tried some. With the Memphis, Tennessee, there were 2 other officers, I believe it was sheriff department that came over. They saw what happened. They say like, we don't want any part of it. We do not want anything to happen. Well, they're already suspended, non-contact or whatever. I understand they probably should have taken the radio and called a supervisor, say, hey, this is what we found. This is what happened here. They failed for doing that. Probably. Should they be charged the same way because of that? I don't believe so, to be honest with you, because one thing is you consenting to that, and the other thing is you participating to that, and the third thing is no, I don't want no part of it. Not that they are covering, because they're probably going to go back to the station and tell the supervisor, hey, we just saw this guy all beat up. And I believe that who did it, they did, but we didn't want any part of it. Yeah. You can call those guys to testify later on, but should we charge them? No. It's the same thing with the George Floyd situation. But one of the things that we need to do is educate more our law enforcement officers. And not only that, administratively speaking, the police departments need to know that. And again, I'm not necessarily talking about Nichols because, it's unfortunate, but, you find guys that know how to fight more than the police. They are MMA fighters or boxers, karate. I'm telling you, because I started in 1974 doing martial arts. So, I used to compete. I went to Oakland, California, some nationals, and also in judo and taekwondo, whatever, and jiu-jitsu. So it's very important for the officers to know how to fight, how to defend themselves. And I have to agree with what some comments that I saw there of some people saying, including a black guy from some police department that he does jiu-jitsu and he trains, he says, and I'm always an advocate of that. Every officer should know, female and male officers should know how to do martial arts, because that would prevent a lot of things from happening. You could see the poor training that they had. How can you tell me you could not, 5 of you, handcuff this guy? Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, you mean to tell me that you never learned that as a police officer, there's 1 minute or 1 situation in which you need to say, enough is enough, stop. Okay? So that's part of your discipline and also training. And number 3, you do not hit anybody. You do not beat up, assault anybody who is in handcuffs. The minute you put the handcuffs in, or at least you're already controlling that person, that's it. I don't care if he spit on your face, he calls your mama, he calls whoever, whatever, and your mom just died, a month ago, whatever. No, it needs to stop. And that's part of the training that we get in every police academy. Once you put the handcuffs on, you don't hit a person. That's it. The most you do is control that person if he keeps resisting. But, that too, let me kick it in the face, on the head 3 or 4 times, punching it while the person is defenseless in the face. Okay. And then we also learned from George Floyd, kneeling down on the officer, could be the chest. I'm sorry, on the victim, could be the chest or the back. That's a no-no. And I'm sure they probably told you that at the academy. And number 4, you forgot that you are on a camera. You have your BWC there active. And I'm not saying that if you don't have it, you can do it. No, 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 no. You must apply everything you learn.
Yeah. Somebody in today's society, it's like what I talked about earlier, somebody's camera is rolling. And if it's not being recorded on a camera, more than likely there's a security camera somewhere from a business nearby. I mean, somebody is going to catch that. And
like the one that took the whole thing up there, the perfect camera. But I don't know if you noticed that one of the officer, he covered his camera, then he went like this, turned it, and he tossed it into the vehicle.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I guess he realized kind of late that, it was recording, and he tossed it because it's like, oh, damn it, it's recording. See what I'm saying? Yeah, but what about the 4 other ones? And then they never looked around. I think if they would be conscious enough of that, they wouldn't commit that kind of crime. I'm thinking. See what I'm saying? Because the first thing that you need to say is, I'm hot, meaning the camera is recording. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Control yourself.
Well,
and again, Jared, that doesn't mean that if you don't have it on, that you're going to proceed and do that. But at least, because you need to be conscious of, and aware of your environment, relaxed but alert and everything.
Well, everybody is going to be held accountable in whatever environment they operate. So when I worked in corporate America, I learned really quickly to always hesitate before I hit send. If I didn't want the whole world to read what I was writing, then don't send it. So,
Exactly.
And if you don't want the whole world to know what you're doing, don't do it. And I don't understand some of the mentality of some people that think, like this kid that was just beating up the 9-year-old, a 3rd grade girl, a teenage boy. And I'm sure you will see this video because it's going viral right now. It's just disgusting. And
wow.
But what have to go through this kid's mind where he in some way thinks he is justified or there's no repercussions for him to beat up this little 9-year-old girl? I'll tell you what, man, I can't fathom what my dad would have done to me if I had ever done that.
But then we have to look back at our experience, especially mine as a police officer. And I'm sure you don't have to be a police officer to see a lot of wrong things happening out there. But I wonder, what is his home look like? Maybe his mother was abused physically by the dad. Maybe his sister or brothers, if he has any. Maybe he lives next to somebody or an uncle or somebody that he had to learn that somewhere close to home, if not at home, in order for him to practice that against a female, number 1, a younger person, number 2, and number 3, that you've been given the freedom to do it, and then there's no consequences. And again, the consequences are needed in order for you to have a better self-esteem. Believe it or not. Some people don't believe it, but I do believe it. Why? Because that's how you're going to learn, through consequences. The other situation we had in Virginia, that the 6-year-old shot the teacher, shot her. And then something came up saying that not only that shot that person, that female, but threatened. I think it was the assistant principal after that. But then one of the things that I say, I hesitated to make that comment. I say, you know what? The parents should be locked up, should be arrested. Why? First of all, how did you allow that kid to get that gun if he got it from your home? If not, next door neighbor on the street, where were you that this kid was not disciplined before? Or what kind of discipline are you teaching in this kid? What kind of rules? Parents don't want to take responsibility for their kids' action. And honestly, it's like, well, I cannot discipline my kid because no, you can't discipline your kid. There's nothing that says that you cannot. Okay? If you spend time reading about what kind of food or what kind of makeup you have to use, then you have to read about what kind of stuff you be teaching your kids. It's simple. You can go to church, you can ask the pastor, you can read the Bible, you can read some other very instructive books and stuff like that. But in that case, I would go back and say, no, bring me the mother or the father of that kid. Where do you find that gun? What are you teaching your kid? 6-year-old shooting a teacher? No, unacceptable. Sure. That kid, 9-year-old beating up the teenager beating up a young girl on the bus.
Yeah. Promise you will be blown away when you see it. It's vicious. It's like he didn't just slap her. I mean, I'll bet in the span of 30 seconds, he hit her 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's unreal. So anyway, we can go on about this all day, but it's just the bottom line. I think I'll let you finish and give me your thoughts. But in my opinion, I think we as a society, we have to decide what kind of a society we want. If it's a lawless, every man and woman and every family for themselves, if that's what you want, then state it and come out and say, this is what I want. And this is what I'm going to push for. And then we can decide, well, if that mayor wants that kind of society, then I'm leaving. I'm going to go some other place. And that's already kind of happening. There's an environment kind of like that in like New York and other California, really expensive areas. People are fleeing those areas. They're coming to Utah. They're coming to Montana. They're going to Florida. They're going to Alabama. People are it's like this mass exodus out of these lawless. And a big reason is because of the crime. Big reason is because of the high taxes. But a lot of it is just this insane mentality of some of these politicians where they're just like, you know what? We'll just tax them more. It doesn't matter what we spend money on. There's always it's like this mentality of there's this endless supply of money from the taxpayers that we can do with whatever we want. And we're going to rule it however we want. And it's not true because people are voting with their feet if they're not voting at the ballot box. And there's a reason that so many people are moving to Florida and other places. And it's just weird. I mean, I don't know what the end result is. And I'll let you finish with your last thoughts on kind of, especially on the East Coast there, what's happening that you see.
Well, about the same thing that you're describing, the so-called bail reform, okay, is ridiculous. On the East Coast, it is bad. But one of the places that honestly I like, because sometimes they are calling racist, but I call him like efficient. Part of Virginia are very, very harsh with putting the guys away. But then I learned that a couple of years ago, this guy was saying, and we were worried because of one of the cases on this area, in the area. This guy said, well, a guy who commits a homicide, maybe 1 or 2 homicides, and is less than 26, 27, should not be given at a state level, not at a federal level. Federal, they don't care. But a state level, city level, he should not be given more than 15 or 20 years for a homicide or 2. Why? Because at 25, 26, the brain is not fully developed. So this guy, scientist, is saying, so at 27, it is. But at 25, 26, it's not. So therefore, he or she doesn't understand completely what they're doing in terms of killing somebody and doing whatever they do. So that's the reason why you should not be giving these people or these young people, so much time in crime. Okay. But at 27 years they are. And I'm thinking and say, so really, they're not really aware of what they're doing. So those things have been implemented in some cities around here and to the United States. So basically you get 1 for 2. You kill 2 people and you're probably going to get, 15 or 20 years because, you're not, unless you're 27 and over. You see what I'm saying? For 1 homicide, you should be getting 30 to life. But then, if you're 20, right? But then if you commit 2 homicides, you're still getting 20 years, no more than that, maybe 15. So for 2 people, you got one sentence, okay? That only going to pay for 1. So this thing that this guy came up with, I've seen it because I'm, we connected on this area with the crime. It's like a run, basically it's out of control. repeated offenders. Carjackers are repeated offenders. Carjackers, normally it gives you 10 years or more, whatever, including kidnapping, because sometimes it take the person away with the whole car. So guess what? They keep repeating the same offense. So what is going to happen is that people are going to start fleeing away from this area, like you said before, and you cannot blame it. Now, the money is not going to solve the problem. The taxes are going to solve the problems, because we are closely 43% of our checks, getting deducted for a whole lot of things. That's not going to solve the problems. I think the problem can be solved by holding accountable the people that are committing the crimes. One thing that I'm a believer of this, officers and people need to be, civilians in general, needs to be more involved into nonprofit organizations, sports, churches, to help. And not only that, to help from a younger age, because if you see around this area, we have the shooters are from 14 to 25 years of age. That's the average. 14 to 25 years old. The ones getting killed, same age, 14 to 25 years. What does that tell you? That tells you that there's something wrong at the home. Maybe churches are not participating, nonprofit organizations are not participating, sport places are not participating the way they should be participating and getting involved. If that continues to happen, not getting involved, we're going to see more of what Memphis, Tennessee situation. And on top of that, because of that, we're already going to see the negativeness coming towards all us law enforcement in every aspect of it, believe it or not.
I 100% agree. I mean, all of this has to happen. It has to start in the home, and demonizing people that are trying to fix things, good teachers, good cops, all of those people are getting demonized and marginalized. And I don't know, like we said at the very beginning, everything is kind of cyclical.
Yeah.
And I think we're headed back to the 80s and 90s type of level of violence. And eventually the people are going to get so tired of it that they're going to go, okay, we got to bring in people that will clean this up. And
Oh yeah. Expendables.
Somebody like Rudy Giuliani is brought back in, and they're like, clean this place up. And I think that's what it's going to take. And it's sad, because in between now and then, a lot of people are going to get hurt. And I don't know what else to do with it. But anyway, a lot of it is just bringing it to attention and talking about it. And the more, guys like you that stand up and say, hey, this has to change, then hopefully it will. So
the last thing real quick, Jared, El Salvador had one of the biggest problems with MS-13 and 18th Street, right? And it was like thousands of people getting killed every year. So the President Bukele started implementing, grabbing everybody. In 4.5 months, he locked up over 50,000 gang members. He said, oh, you guys want to kill each other? And he put them in jail together. So kill each other now, because in between your war, innocent people are getting killed. So 50,000, great, phenomenal. Now people can go out there, have their business, not getting extorted, not getting threatened, not getting shot, not getting killed, not getting robbed, including the tourism is increasing right now. He's going to try to get reelected for another 5 years. It's different than here. That's 10 years. And then I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe they need somebody from his same cabinet that do it for another 5 years or 10 years, something like 15 or 20 years. Honduras had the same problem, and Honduras was in a lockdown recently. So they called Bukele. So now they're implementing something like Bukele was doing it, so they can control the drug cartels in Honduras and also the gang members. So now he built a new prison facility to get these guys there. He gave them 1 meal a day. They don't get mattresses to sleep on it and no cable and whatever. No, you're going to suffer the consequences, because I'm not going to be taxing the people to pay you for the food that you already kill people and extorting or whatever. So that big change, and again, of course, that will never happen in the United States, because it's unrealistic. I don't think, this is democracy and I don't know. That's another topic. But Bukele is doing a great thing. And the last other thing that I wanted to add real quick, in Dominican Republic, we had a situation with these guys that was with a rifle. He robbed a place, he shot some people, and killed some people. His father was a police general. So the way he was brought up, it was that whatever he wanted, he would give to his son. And in school, he was so arrogant and say, he'll misbehave himself, do something like that teenagers, 9-year-old girl. And then somebody would come in and say, hey, you cannot do that or whatever. And the general would come like, that's my son. You don't mess around with him. Subsequently, this kid, when he was like 20-something, he got shot and killed. Say, they persecuted my son and whatever. And somebody there to tell him and say, no, it's your fault because of the way you raised him, so arrogant and stuff like that. And you gave him the power without control. So that's what we get in here these days when we're raising these kids. And we cannot allow a person who's going to become a police officer to be like that, because then we would have and continue to have repeated Memphis, Tennessee situation. Thank you.
Oh, you know what? Amen, brother. And I'll tell you, that's, words of the wise right there.
Thank you.
We have to do something to help educate these kids, because the life is tough. And if you're easy on them and just give them everything that they want when they're young, they are going to grow up to be just worthless members of society. And then eventually they have to pay the piper. And it's sad when that happens. So
it is indeed.
All right. Hey, Ellie, I appreciate it, man. You're a good man, and carry on.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity. God bless you. God bless everybody who's watching this.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for joining us. Your attention today brings us one step closer to exposing and eliminating the evil that brings crime to our communities. Hit subscribe and share this episode. Together, we will bring justice to every victim.